You're such an asshole.
Banging out the videos at Asshole Consulting. If you would like this brilliant elderly brotherly advice or insight, this one actually has nothing to do with older brother. This is just an economics, political, philosophical question. But if you would like my wisdom in whatever capacity, and you want to pay me for my time, by gum, by golly, look at Big Titted Molly, we have an accord. And we could go ahead and chat. And where'd his name go? Brian writes, hey Aaron, the question I would like to ask is how would it affect the parasitic class, particularly people who have multiple children just to get money from the government, if productive people said screw it and stop producing, which I think is already happening to a certain degree. It is. There's, in different ways, not so much in a gulp, everyone's going gulp, but some people are like, yeah, you know what, I got enough on mine. So there's a little bit of underlying minimalist movement there. I've always felt the best response from the productive taxpayers would be to stop reproducing taxpayers for the parasites to live off of. And then there are some that say the government would prefer a third world country because poor people are easier to control. What's your opinion on this? I don't know if they're going for... Look, I don't give people in the leftist political classes, the leftist politician, I don't give them enough intelligence to come up with something that malicious or Joker and the devil-like. They are here first and foremost for themselves, and if they've thought at all about it philosophically, their only goal is to live rich and die and not give a shit what happens to the country or the people thereafter. Some of them are true believers. You know, take a look at Barack Obama. He had kids. He put the ultimate bet into it, and I think he's a good father. It's not like he just spat out kids because, you know, they're a trailer trash. They weren't. But then there are people who actually believe they're going down the right road because they're highly uneducated, if not outright miseducated, and are making the biggest gamble with the largest number of people in the history. No, wait, that'd be China. China did that. Mao Zedong did that. Never mind, I take that back. We're going to be the second closest. Who knows? Maybe we'll only kill 75 million. So I don't believe in that. It's a little too conspiracy theory for me. I think they're just the elite, rich, spoiled brats like Mayor Betsy Hodges and Nancy Pelosi and the Bushes. Let's not think it's just Democrats. That's how people go into politics. They don't want to work a real job. That's it. It's work avoidance. And on top of it, they need ego and money. That they just don't want to work. They don't want to, and they just want a cushy, boring lifestyle. So don't overthink that. But yeah, I mean, look, if the producers stop producing and you have a large welfare state, yeah, there's going to be some crashes coming. There's going to be starvations and what do they call it? Not the plague. What happened in Russia like twice after the Bolsheviks took over? Not the plague. What do they call it? Starvation? Mass starvations? Famine. That's what it is. You know, there'd be famine. There'd be famine and war. That's a short answer, frankly, because everybody would then start to, you know, genetics would kick in and they'd want to survive and they'd just go, I'm going to go take that. Like, screw you, it's mine. And, well, we haven't been paying taxes, so there's no army. It's whoever has the guns now. So it'd be post-apocalyptic. And don't blame that on capitalism. Do not blame that on capitalism. Because what caused it was socialist government programs, transferring money from one people to the other. That's not it. If you didn't do that and everyone had to sink or swim, everyone had to support themselves. And so don't say, so when the United States goes down, remember, this is not a capitalist country. Capitalist country would have way lower taxes and nowhere near the social programs that we do. But the reason the producers, just say, screw it. And the reason there'd be death is because the parasites don't know how to produce and support themselves. Because they've been so, not brainwashed, that too. They have been so conditioned not to work, they don't know how. Because we just kept bailing them out. There was no pain. No pain. Nothing for them to suffer and learn to be scared. Like, oh my gosh. People say, how'd you pay off for college? Because I didn't like starving. That was it. Starving in the cold of Minnesota is what drove me to work as hard as I did. So I didn't have to worry about starvation or suffering. But most people, they're weaker than that. They'll take a government check over a work paycheck any day. So, all right, sent over 28th. What would happen? So I went through, and I came up with the whole thing would collapse. Let's just understand that it would all collapse. This is what would maybe happen or chronologically happen. But be very well aware there'd be riots in the streets. The parasites would start coming after the producers. The producers would gun them down because they have most of the stuff. And there's other things producers have, like the ability to create electricity, the ability to, the engineers, let's not think politics. Let's just think who makes the most money. Well, they're the most productive people. Your mechanics, your welders, your tradesmen, your engineers. Those are the people that they produce. Doctors, surgeons, they'll be in demand. Farmers, they produce. And they don't just... and then the parasites, whether you're a direct parasite like you're collecting welfare, or you are a government parasite where you have this made-up, make-work government job that serves absolutely no value to society whatsoever. Those people go and check, but I don't know how you beat a population that is simply more industrious and harder working than you. I don't know how, and forget industrious, how do you beat when your job is when that's what you do for a living is live off of other people? What skills, what abilities do you have to go and I'd love to see, and this is it's kind of funny, these touchy-feely leftist millennials who go and they protest because Donald Trump got elected, and the guy's screaming, "Ah!" That guy, or Jigglypuff, you think they're going to come up and just take your stuff? You may not like guns, but the Republicans and conservatives and the typically productive members of society do have guns. So, and they tend to hit the gym and work out. So, I'd love to see America's spoiled little millennial, perpetually college-educated students who've never worked a real job or hit a gym. I'd love to see them just try and do something. I really would. So, all right, here's what happened. First, checks would bounce. Government checks. Whether you're a direct welfare parasite or you're a worthless government employee. The government would somehow keep the military online. But if the producer just said, forget it, how much people say forget it, does the government have no money? Well, I guess the military wouldn't be paid. But they'd print off money, there'd still be a little bit, and the military would be basically the final law. But all of a sudden, welfare, Camp, Wick, Vic, Slick, Dick, that would all... Then also your teachers and your librarian who hated Dr. Seuss and your social workers and your adjunct professors and everybody who doesn't work and produce a damn real thing but still have magically jobs, they don't get checks either. Anything that relies on a government check. Then, without checks, or checks would bounce, it would be hyperinflation, whatever, the money's cut off, and now people can't afford food, clothing, or shelter. So, current supplies would run a little bit, like a day or two, but then when someone had to go to the Walmart, the grocery store, and realize that nothing else was coming in, or they just shut it down, or there's no electricity, that's, again, it's hard to figure out how this explosion will occur. That's when the riot's happening, there's hoarding. If the National Guard is still around, they'll send it in. I don't think the cops will be around. I think the cops will have bugged out, bringing their guns and their children and family with them. And either the National Guard is sent back in and takes over, in which case there's your battle, there's your war, and now you're under military or martial order, martial law. And then... one way or another, either the lights would have to be turned back on, or even the National Guard said, well, screw it, I'm not getting paid, they'll leave. And then you're going to have protesting and chaos and anarchy on your hands once again. The protesters, though, it's going to be interesting to see how, and keep in mind, you're going to have both the direct welfare parasite leftist and the government, cushy little government job, Tina, the sociology major, government parasite. They will all protest. But then the protests are going to kind of change and evolve, according to my theory here. So, there will be the death stage. The first stage will be angry. They'll be very angry because they are entitled to this in their minds. They think they're entitled to other people's money. They're entitled to other people being slaves and paying for their shit. I don't think they get that far, but they don't know any better. And now their one lifeline is cut off, and they'll be pissed because their lives are dependent upon it. So there will be, again, the protests and all that. If the National Guard squashes them, or no one comes to the rescue, no one turns on the lights, it's just nothing happening, they're going to start to get hungry. This is the hungry cold stage. They're going to be weak, they're going to be malnourished. There will be like kings or tribesmen or gang leaders will step in, the mafia or whatever will step in where the traditional law stepped out. They might have some food, but keep in mind, if the producers stop producing, there's no new resupply of Pampers coming into the local Walmart. There's no, so whatever supply of food is there is going to last, who knows, a week, 2 weeks maybe, but that's not even going to last that long. People are going to start killing each other off. I think people, and I say hungry and cold, keep in mind it's either I die or somebody else dies. So you're going to have people bumping each other off. I think it'll get so bad to the point that people will be killing each other for cannibalism purposes. All depends on how close to a natural food source they are and all that. But yeah, that's how it is. So then they're going to be taking a psychological toll. They're going to say this sucks. And then I think they're going to splinter into 3 groups. You're going to have the privileged liberals who won't even be around at this stage. The privileged liberals will be back at home where their dad, who was a fucking idiot and spoiled them rotten and raised them that way, or their mom did it, where dad or mom or somebody who was a producer had the foresight to have a couple months supply of water, have their own garden, maybe have their own livestock, and they'll let that professional, pampered, liberal arts major government parasite back in because blood is thicker than water. She or he will have to learn their lesson, like, hey, you're going to carry your weight. But again, I'm always amazed at just how much suburbanite daddies let their suburbanite princesses and princes just run roughshod right over them. So I think there'd be a lot of re-education having to happen. Like, no, you got to go toll the fields or we're all going to die. No, what do you mean listening to your iPhone? No, we have no electricity. No, that electricity has to go to run the heat or whatever. So there's going to be a part of a re-education. There's going to be the non-privileged liberals. These would be the people who are directly dependent on government handouts in one way or another. Here we could say the cities are going to turn into hellholes. But also I think some parts of small towns, because you all think, oh, yeah, it's just minorities in the city that are on welfare. It's like, no. There's more white people on welfare and government assistance than minorities because we're a larger percentage of the population, not proportionately, but there's still white people that claim, and these guys are going to be just as pissed, but they're not centrally located in the cities. So I think there's going to be some shootouts in small towns, and it's going to be boiling down to, I think it'll be your sheriffs and your old police. They're going to form the law again because they want to protect the family. There's the good old boys out there with their guns. You're going to see high school guys get in that have rivalries, not necessarily that are in high school still, but lived in the same town. You got to go live in Wisconsin or Wyoming for a bit. You'll see. They'll start shooting each other up for their women, especially Wyoming. They'll do that now. Fucking do it now. You look at my woman? Yeah, she's the bartender. I have to look at her. What? So there's going to be a shoot up, but that's going to be the non-privileged. They're going to have to. They're not going to be organized. They're not going to be a unit together, and they're not going to have food, clothing, and shelter and electricity and power backups. They're just not. So it won't be as long because there's not as many of them in one central area, but there's going to be a lot of death and mayhem. But that's what the non-privileged liberals are going to do. When it's finally, like, there's just a few people left, they are going to have to work one way or another. They're either going to work because the local gang leader or the strong man has enough guns that they can go ahead and start telling them what to do, and then you're going to have, okay, we need to make food. You guys go till those plots of land over there. You guys go protect. So that order and law that's going to be the first service that has to be provided, and it will be. Somebody smart, I know it's hard to imagine this, somebody smart in Wyoming will rally the Hicks. Somebody smart in the inner city will rally all the inner city kids, and there will be law again. It'll be tyrannical, it'll be law, but with law, tyranny or not, then comes production. Do this, or I'm going to kill you. And it's like, all right, because Negan needs half. And these people will, just because they want to stay alive, they say, okay, fine, I'll get water. Okay, fine, I'll eat. Okay, fine, whatever. And then, either because of the traumatic experience they had just gone through, or they just want to live, whatever brainwashing they had before on leftism, and I just get the government checks and I turn that light on and the lights go on, that will be gone. That will be wiped away because they won't be able to. Well, the strong man will kick their ass. Then you're going to have your diehard ideologues, and they're still going to, and they're going to pick up their guns and they're going to go fight, and they're going to go to the nice parts of town where they're going to find out there ain't nobody left. They're going to say, well, let's go out to the burbs. But keep in mind, these diehard ideologues, they're mental. They are mental. I mean, look at the people, like the article we just did on, we didn't do the article, but we talked about it. The adjuncts are living in their cars. They're living in true power. One had to resort to prostitution. It's like you're obviously so wedded to your political ideology. It's your religion. It's your faith, and you'll never give it up because they have nothing else in it. And their ego won't allow them to realize that they're not going to. So they're going to pick up whatever arms they can. They might go and try and fight. They might even themselves try and become the leaders because they want to be politicians. They always want to lead. They never want to work. But I don't think they're going to be strong enough to outdo the strong men who actually did fight, who actually maybe had a real job in their lives, who actually are smart enough and logical enough to say, no, we need water, we got to do this, we got to do that. So I think, but that'd be the third and the small splinter of the group, because they won't last. They just won't last because it'll be their keep in mind, without government money, these ideologues wouldn't exist. That's how they live. That's their air. You have to realize we're taking away their air. You have no more air. Conservatives and libertarians and just basically non-left or just good old-fashioned hard-working Union Democrats, they can live without a government check. But these leftists cannot. So some kind of economic production will have to occur. Since they won't do that, and they're just going to go out and get their asses shot because they just believe in Marx because there's nothing else to believe in, they will not last long because I don't think anyone's going to really abide them for too long. Then what will happen after that is whoever has the strongest, biggest army will set the law in his or her region. There will be kind of a war of kingdoms like in China or Germany or France when King Clovis came around. And it would have to unite again under one national kind of ideology, national idea, some kind of nationalism, where they're going to join us like, okay, we're with you. We're with the Roman Empire. We're all this now. We're all this. King Clovis comes in, unites France. Whoever united Germany and whoever united China. So instead of us all individually fighting with local warriors and strong tribes, like, no, we're all going to be on this one page together. But that could take hundreds of years, easily hundreds of years. Because why would that strong man give up his fiefdom? So it's going to suck. It's really going to suck when that happens. But I think there will be some regional ones. I think definitely by rivers. And where there's people with lots of guns and engineers. That'll be the next step. First step is to get law back in order. Second step is to get engineers and get technology up and running. That would be, because then if you get your technology up and running and like you could get a tractor going, then that's that much more human labor that doesn't have to be spent tending the gardens. And now they can go work on, vaccines, so your humans live longer and they're healthier, and you can get, I don't know, whatever. I mean, you guys ever play Civilization? Huh? And then they got the best weapons, and then they just are so technologically advanced compared to the other people that were, maybe just relying on straight slave labor. One more powerful dominant entity would arise. But that's it. Glad we could have this happy chat. You guys got questions, go to asoconsulting.com. And for a fee of on average $35 for a video, $25 for an email, the old captain will tell you his thoughts. Oh, they're still working. All right, we'll see you kids later. Toodles.